So I was watching the video and had a lot to do with traffic stops. So I figured let me do some research and see about, because I know a lot of people out here got a lot of misconceptions about the law, and then it caused a lot of problems because you was told one thing, and then you run into the police officer and you think one thing, and then he say another, and it makes lines of communication go crazy. And then sometimes we end up disrespecting each other. And I want to kind of bridge the gap with helping you with some information about the laws, a couple of specific laws that people have these issues with. And I want to say, I appreciate all the good work by the police officers out there that are good cops. And I ain't got nothing to say about the bad ones. But yeah, this is just to kind of help both ends. So, got a little information. What the law generally says about traffic stops and exiting the vehicle. During a traffic stop, police can order you to exit your vehicle according to legal guides. Officers may ask you to step out, and you should comply in a calm and safe way. If you refuse to follow a lawful command like get out of the car, that could lead to more trouble, including arrest or for obstruction. Once you exit, the officer may do a frisk, a pat down, if they reasonably suspect you might be armed. Another thing, provide an identification, your name. Whether you have to give your name depends on the laws in your state. And I'm about to do one for Georgia and Oklahoma with them. In some states, a statute requires you to identify yourself during a Terry stop, a stop based on reasonable suspicion. It's called Terry stop. The U.S. Supreme Court upheld this in Hibble versus Sitt Judicial District Court in Nevada. But in states without a stop and identify law, you may not be legally required to identify yourself just because an officer asks. I'm going to repeat that. In states without a stop and identify law, you may not be legally required to identify yourself just because an officer asks. And I'm going to find out those states for you. Your right to remain silent. Even if you do remain silent, even if you do give your name, you generally have the right to refuse to answer additional questions. That's the ACLU advises that if you want to remain silent, you should clearly say so. Or you can ask, am I free to leave? And that's a good way to clarify whether you are being detained or if it's a consensual encounter. So just ask, am I free to leave, and get the hell on. Respectfully. If you are being arrested, you have the right to a lawyer, and you know that, and you can probably should invoke that right immediately, straight up. So in Oklahoma, there is no general law that forces someone on foot to identify themselves just because an officer asks, unless the officer has a lawful stop. During a traffic stop,